We're about to go into the party. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to the Apothecary Diaries, episode 6. And yeah, we left off with this great party about to start, this big to-do. But last episode, let's be honest, had a different focus by the end. It had something else that really caught our attention and was quite a big deal for its portrayal and for the character work within this series. We found out that Mau Mau's freckles are fake, that it's makeup, and that she puts it on every day as instinct from when she worked with the brothels before, being kidnapped and taken to the palace. When she was working around there, she did this to avoid the drunken, disorderly patrons who didn't get enough of what they were looking for from raping her. It doesn't hide this. It doesn't hide what she's talking about. It's very clear. She was afraid of them raping her because that's apparently a thing that has happened. And so by putting on these fake freckles, it allows her to basically look undesirable so that she would be passed over and ignored. This is a revelation that Jinshi was really fucked up by. Not only just because of how fucked and horrifying that is, but also because he feels almost personally responsible for not dealing with stuff like that, for not making sure stuff like that doesn't happen, even though it's not his fault by any means. But it actually brought him to tears. And it shows that he is a really good person. It shows that he is a very caring, compassionate, empathetic person. And that's, really good character building. Not only for Mau Mau, but for Jinshi as well. However, with all of the good comes one little complaint about that. And I talked about it last time. And it's not a complaint with the writing or anything like that. It's just, I don't understand why freckles are seen as ugly. I don't get it. I know historically it is a thing. I understand that. I just have never understood that because freckles are really pretty. Freckles literally make anyone look better. I've never understood the idea of freckles being an undesirable trait. Were they likened to blemishes like pimples and stuff? Was that the idea? Oh, because the skin wasn't perfectly one color, it was deemed as ugly because there was something different about the skin. And it's this kind of thing just irritates me in general when people view that same kind of idea with anything, not just freckles, but beauty marks, or people who have vitiligo. It's that kind of thing that just irritates me because it's so fucked up. I mean, judging people based on, physical traits like that is not great in the first place. But to deem them as ugly and undesirable because of that, it's not like they can help it. They were born with it. People are born with freckles, and yeah, during some parts of the year they are more apparent and stuff, I guess I've heard. But it's still something they're born with. Beauty marks, people who have vitiligo is, you know, due to, it's not a disorder. I don't want to say that. It's just a condition. It's a skin condition. And it's a harmless one. But yeah, I've known people who have vitiligo. And it's normal. It's just how they are, and we shouldn't judge or look down on them for it. People with vitiligo can be just as beautiful, just as awesome as anyone. And it's one of those cases where again, I've just never understood why people view this kind of stuff this way. It doesn't make sense to me. I feel like there's just so many people out there who just want to find any excuse to be judgmental assholes. And so they'll look at anything. They'll judge you for any little thing that doesn't even make sense or have any like logic to it. But they'll use it against you because they want to be judgy assholes. And I've heard some people like argue, "Oh, nobody wants to be a judgy asshole. If they're doing that, it probably means they have some other problem with you." It's like that's not necessarily true. That's a hopeful, wishful thought, but it's not necessarily true. There are people out there who genuinely want to be bad, who genuinely want to do bad things and say bad things and be judgy. Like trying to act like nobody out there who is bad or does bad things like wants to do that, or like they don't even consider themselves bad. It's like a lot of people, you could even say most, could be like that. But there are absolutely people out there who know that what they're doing is bad and don't give a shit. Because to them, their enjoyment of that, the sick pleasure they get from it, is all that matters. There are just terrible people out there. You have to realize that. I got into this entire rant though, and like this, I was just trying to make a comment on the freckles thing from last time, but I think Mau Mau looks exceptionally better with the freckles, honestly. Though I'm also one of those weirdos who um, also doesn't tend to like getting like the idea of someone getting too fancied up, like all this makeup and all this like extensive like physical care and everything. It just makes people look a little more fakey to me. And if that makes you, if something like that makes you happy, that's fine. I'm not gonna like take that away from you. I'm just saying that I don't find it as attractive personally. I find natural beauty oftentimes more attractive, or like light makeup. I don't think people need to like cake on a shit ton of makeup to look beautiful. And the thing is, again, I'm not going to judge someone or tell someone they shouldn't wear all that makeup. I'm just, sharing a preference I have, basically. But yeah, I think like freckles just make someone look better, and I think Mau Mau like looks better with like her normal look. Like her dolled up look that we see at the end of the episode last time, it feels performative, and it basically is. And mind you, like she's like stripped away a lot of the makeup she normally wears. She's wearing different makeup than usual. Um, but she's still very dolled up. And it's like that's not my thing. I don't get into that, and at the same time I just don't find the appeal in it personally. So just sharing my thoughts on that. But I think that with this rambling done for now, we should probably just get on with the episode. So let's check it out and see what we have in store. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I'm going to get to this right off the bat because it's kind of like the biggest thing on my mind. So we were introduced last episode to the other concubines that we didn't know already. And yeah, we figured that the one of them, or I figured at least, that the one of them was just really small. Because there are people who are like that, who are just, smaller in stature. But we find out this episode that Li Shu is actually very young. She's literally a child. And I know and I understand that different cultures, different time periods have had different views on this kind of thing. When it comes to marriage, sex, and just, sex work even in this kind of situation. But I've said this before, I'll say it again. I am viewing this from the perspective of someone living in 2025. America 2025, I guess, specifically. And I'm living in a time, a place, a situation that understands how fucked up that kind of thing is. And there's multiple reasons that could have caused this kind of thing to happen. Because she was like already a consort to the emperor, like, before this. Like, when she was 9, I think it was. And it's just like, that's just irredeemable in my eyes. That's fucked beyond reason. And I understand, I understand that she probably didn't choose this. It's probably a situation like a lot of these characters where they're like taken into this. And again, I understand that there's like you have to account for the time period, the culture, the different ideas they had at the time with that. And it's like it's still something that I personally cannot reconcile with, and it really bothers me. Now, mind you, concubines served other purposes besides just sex. So there's maybe the hope that she wasn't engaged in that back at that time, or even current time. But I feel like it's a very... I feel like there's a likelihood that there was stuff going on. And it's something that really bothers me. And I mean, we don't fully know Li Shu that much. Like, her personality hasn't been like super heavily on display as of yet. Um, but it's like this kind of thing just automatically makes me feel like really bad for the person going through it because of how, just for lack of a better word, icky it is. And it's something that like was bothering me this episode. And the discussion with her at the end about the food allergy and everything was able to kind of take my mind off of it a little bit because I was kind of focusing on that at the time. But it's just like that was kind of my biggest like issue with this. And again, I'm not like even necessarily blaming the series because it's portraying a thing that absolutely did happen. It's just really fucking gross to me. It's something that genuinely bothers me to a very strong degree. And it's just a case of like something I can't really get over. Something I can't really just ignore. So that definitely took away a lot of my excitement about the episode otherwise. But we'll talk about we'll go into the food allergy stuff now because it connects with that. This was a thing that honestly had to have occurred, well, not really occurred. It had to have happened at some point within the scope of this series, introducing the idea of food allergies and whatnot. Even though they wouldn't have had that term at the time, just describing it as, oh, this person has a food they can't eat, their body reacts negatively to it. Apparently, for Mau Mau, it's buckwheat. For Li Shu, it's mackerel. And different people have different allergies. There's obviously super common ones in the world, like peanut butter or just peanuts in general. Seafood is a very common allergy, but specifically like shellfish. Is like a really common one. I've been blessed to where, to my knowledge, I do not have any food allergies. Um, at least none that I've discovered in my life. And I've had a lot of food. I'm a very adventurous eater, so I've tried things that like are like from different cultures and whatnot as well. And I've never had any kind of adverse effects to the likes of hives or throat swelling or anything like that. So I've been very lucky because I've known so many people who have had allergies of some sort. And like, as someone who does enjoy food and enjoy like trying different things, I can only imagine how like bad that would be, especially for something that's like super common. You have to be very careful about everything you eat. Mind you, it's like, oh, you're not going to have like shellfish in a burger usually, but it's like you still have to be careful about what you're consuming at all times, and you have to make sure on any possible allergens or even cross contamination of allergens. It's like you have to make sure, like, even if you're eating candy and stuff, oh, was this packaged, was this made in a factory that deals with peanuts and stuff? It's it's got to be a really crazy thing to have to go through, but it is important to handle all that. Um, so it's like that's something like with how this series goes, what it talks about, the kind of things that Mao Mao like tackles through her job and everything. It's something that would have to be touched on, and so I'm glad that it has been. And I think with her being a food taster as well, this would be like kind of the right opportunity to touch on something like this. So, yeah, just a really smart decision there and really well handled. And then we have just the fact that someone tried to poison Gyokyo. But the dishes were also swapped. So it was actually Lady Lishu who was the target. Because that's why Mao Mao noticed that the regular ingredient was different. It was jellyfish instead of the mackerel. So there was a mix up, or maybe it was intentional. Maybe the server intentionally swapped them knowing that Lady Li Shu was being targeted. In which case, the server would probably be someone who would be loyal to Lady Lishu and not care if Lady Gyokyo died. Or just assume that Lady Gyokyo's tester would be able to recognize it well enough to be able to handle that. Or the person has something against Lady Gyokyo and just wanted to kill her. There's options here. But yeah, it's very interesting. And Mao Mao was prepared for this kind of thing. Obviously, she had some stuff set up, some medicine to help her puke that would allow her to expel the poison before it could truly take effect. That's why she had to run when she did. She had to do that quickly. Because if she waited too long, the poison would get into her system. Um, Although she apparently dreams about that because she's a little freak. But, you know, she still knew it was smart to expel it. We also dealt with some of the other ladies in waiting. Um, for Lady Liwa specifically being kind of bratty bitches. But Mao Mao scaring them was great, and then like offering the heating stones and them like cowering away in fear. It's like that's just really funny. Um, but yeah, a lot of really fascinating moments to this episode. It didn't like I was expecting it to feel like more of a big party, you know, like a big like almost celebration kind of party. Instead it was very casual, very laid back. Like there was like obviously people conversing and stuff at first, and then the food tasting was very like quiet and restrained. There's also this one guy who was giving out hairpins to pretty much everyone. And he seems like a good lad and clearly was developing a little bit of a crush for Mao Mao. And Mao Mao also got a hairpin from Lady Liwa, which apparently Gyokyo would not like, we're told. Which I get why, but Lady Liwa obviously is showing her appreciation for Mao Mao helping her out before and everything. Um, Also, you could see that she is showing off her tits a little bit, so that's definitely some continuity there. Yeah, just an episode full of like things from the past, like connecting to this, as well as some new things being introduced. There's also still the mystery of like the burnt stuff going on, the like tags or whatever they were. We're still trying to figure that out. So that's going to be a little bit of an ongoing mystery we have compared to like the episodic ones. But yeah, this was a generally good episode. Nothing like amazing, and again, it did lose points to me for me because of the age thing, which just is a intense gross out for me. And again, I don't blame the show for that. I don't blame the writers. They're trying to depict something that's, realistic. Or, the mangaka as well. Trying to depict something in like a, authentic sense, but it is going to feel very icky. It just is. And that's going to affect my enjoyment of things. I'm not going to lie. Certain things like that will affect my enjoyment of a show or a game or whatever else. Um, Mind you, there are certain shows that handle it in a way to where they're making it very clear you're not supposed to like that and it's supposed to be really fucked up and disturbing and that's the intent. Those kind of shows handle that in a way to where it's like it actually elevates the series. I don't think that's quite what's going on here yet, but they might go in that direction. But I'm talking like how Dan to Dan handles it, for example, to where it's like, oh, you're supposed to hate this. That's the intent. Um, but it's like there's other shows that have done it too, and I don't know if that's where this is going right now. This episode didn't do that, but it might go that path in the future. And Mau Mau commented on it. Mau Mau commented on her basically being a child, so there is that, to be fair. At least it was like addressed in that regard. So it's definitely seen as odd, but it's still ewy. um, but all of that being said, tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this episode of the Apothecary Diaries? And thank you, as always, so much for tuning in. I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.